Grace and peace to you from Grace Church on the Hill in Toronto. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic and in the dog days of summer, but I'm really happy to be with one of our more talented parishioners, Annie Castillo, who's here just to say what it's like to be a mother of two girls in the middle of all this. And Annie, welcome. Nice to have you here. And I know you've been busy on the computer, as a lot of people are working from home these days. But as a mother of two school-age daughters, it's Elodie and Umi, it's a challenging time for kids right now. Anyway, just what's it been like for you the last 4 or 5 months, just with everything locked down?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember the 3 first weeks that they told us we have to keep the children home. And I was like, no, 3 whole weeks, what are we going to do with the children?
Yeah.
For 3 weeks, oh my goodness. So that was so traumatic, but then it's been months. So I think we weren't even prepared for all of this time, but I think we are adapting to it. Something that I'm really, every single day, something I preserve and I really, it's in our structure of our days, we need to keep calling people every day. There's no one day that goes by without us contacting somebody of our family, specifically our family, but friends too. They have their little friends and I have my friends, so we always, even at the beginning of it, every single day in our schedule, call people just to stay connected and for the mental health too. And what I told my girls from the beginning is when we call somebody, we're not just taking care of ourselves because we're talking to somebody, but we're taking care of them because they're lonely and they need company too. Everybody's lonely right now and everybody's happy to hear from you at this moment in time, which is rare. It has never happened.
No.
So,
but you put that in as a structural part of every day.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I do it naturally, but I did it for them. I'm like, guys, you cannot spend one day without talking to somebody that you love. Yeah.
And they miss their school friends, of course.
Yes, yeah, they miss them all. That's very hard because Umi is 12, so she's getting to that age that friends are the most important thing ever.
Yes.
And she's had to adapt to just be with me. Be all me. So it's just okay. She's getting used to it, but as I say, she calls people every day. So it hasn't. In fact, I feel one of the gifts of coronavirus is that we have been getting closer to people that we weren't that close before. Just because we call constantly and we didn't, it's almost like if the pandemic reminded us that the phone is supposed to be for calling people. We've been using it just for Instagram and just I don't know, just looking at things on Facebook or something. But I think we remembering that a phone is for calling and hearing somebody's voice and for them to hear your voice, and that's been amazing because now we're closer to people that we always loved, but that we didn't take the time to call them, and now everybody feels like they're at the same distance, no matter what part they are in the world.
And your parents are in Mexico, so the only way you'd have to chat with them is by phone, right?
Yes, yeah, so that's what we do most days.
Yes. How are they doing, do you think, in Mexico?
They are getting there. As I was saying, Mexico is in a weird situation because Canada, I'm so in love with Canada because everything seems everything is measured. They're trying to improve systems. The doctors are trying to they're measuring everything. Everything seems under control as much as it can be under control. It's not under complete control, but as much as they can, they've been doing an excellent job. In Mexico, on the other hand, they have never been a structure or rules or they haven't been a law that says you need to do this or that. People have been having to fend for themselves. Recently they say you need to wear masks, and that's one of the first things that they say that you're supposed to do, but bars are open, and restaurants are closed. The rules over there are really up and down. It depends a lot on yourself as an individual to take care of yourself. So everybody does whatever they can. But what I like about Canada is as a society, we are regulating and trying hard to control this as a group. And they're very intelligent and good people in Mexico that they're trying to do the same. But it's almost the good, smart people that have to go against the system or something.
Yes.
It's very stressful for them because they're conscious of what's happening, but they cannot
And you are an author and an illustrator of children's books. If you want to have a wonderful children's book, Annie's just come out with Ping, P-I-N-G, remember that? And it's a big hit in New York. And she's producing, oh, there she is, Ping. And she works at designing and authoring children's books. You're an artist, you're a author. What's it like, the discipline of working from home every day, and then of course you've got kids to raise, and
Yes.
it's a lot to...
That's been a big thing because I'm used to being by myself for like 6-hour stretches or something just so I can
be
work.
creative.
Yeah, but now when the children are at home, it's really hard. Like I don't get the time to go inside of my head and my imagination because I'm dealing with them.
Yeah.
My kids are a little bit older, so they're more independent. But they're learning. Like I put a desk inside of my bedroom, so I close the door, and I tell them, guys, you need to go over there because I need to write. But another thing is because we don't have to go to school, we don't have to like travel.
Yes.
I've had those hours in the morning that I've been writing so much.
So it's been a productive
Yes,
time for you.
yeah.
Isn't that
I'm
ironic?
becoming a writer now. More of a writer. Like I just been writing so much. I haven't done any like exact project yet, but well, I started my 3rd book actually, and I finished my 2nd book.
Congratulations.
but with the writing, it's just thank you. With the writing, it's just like writing and writing and writing everything that comes to my head, and this is a brand new discipline that I'm getting because of coronavirus. So it's been another weird blessing.
I wouldn't have thought it would have been something that stimulated creativity, but it stifled it. But just the opposite.
At the beginning it did because I was so stressed and I was very stressed and like scared for my parents in Mexico and for us here. But at the same time, something that I found out, because you know they tell you that you have to relax and you need to like be easy on yourself. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be easy on myself and I'm gonna relax. That like at some point it really made me more stressed.
Oh.
I feel like working, writing, doing art, drawing, it makes you feel one that you are in control of a little thing, but also it helps you just like expressing yourself is healthy for you. Writing is healthy for you. Just like producing anything, even if you never publish it, it's just the exercise of creation is like good for mental health. So that's another thing in our schedule that I force my children like art time. So they have in the schedule and they're like, can we watch TV? And I'm like, do you do your art today? And you call your person and then they can do something? But that has been parts of our like exercise, like everyday exercise, everyday art, everyday contact with people. That's how I've always managed depression myself. And I think that's why what I've been trying to manage with them is the same thing. Like if you are creative, even a little bit, even if you write for like 10 minutes, you feel better, I think, than if you don't. In my experience. So yeah, it's very interesting.
You're a big part of this community, and the girls are as well. And
I love it and I miss it.
and we all miss you, and it's been so much a part of our common life to be together and support one another. And now we're all shut out isolated from one another. How are you guys just coping? I mean, how is anyone coping? We're missing one another.
That's the hardest part. I think that is that's the extreme hard part because for me the church, you know, like I came to this church, I grew up Catholic, but then I came here and I'm like, oh, there's women priests, and they're like, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, this is even way better. You don't have to confess your sins. I'm like, yes, I can just, anyways. But so when I came here, what I really love is the people. You see people and just meeting generations, because there is no other place in the world like that you can meet generations of people like that, and you can meet like an 80-year-old and like a
100-year-old.
100-year-old.
We've got a 100-year-old.
Yeah, and then like a baby, and then you can like mix them all together. Like church is the best for that, and then you start knowing each other and caring for each other, and that I miss so much. Yeah.
And people from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Such a variety and diversity here.
Yes. I think so. That's another of the blessings of coronavirus. You can appreciate how good that was and how special it is to have access to. It's like a group of people, like a village. It's like a little village, and you see the same faces, and you start like knowing each other's children and by name. And it's a really special thing, and I think
And when it's taken away, you feel it.
it hurts. Yeah, I don't know how everybody's coping because I am very active, so I try to go outside and see people from a distance. But a lot of people, like, I wonder how they're coping. Older people that they have mobility issues and things. I really wonder how is it going. I remember at the beginning I was thinking maybe we should do like a buddy system that we all call, like the older members. I used to like a check-in, like an, I don't know, like numbers that we could volunteer to call them for a little bit a week or something.
We really have a kind of system like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
true. Yeah, particularly with the most vulnerable and the
I
shut
didn't
in.
know that. Oh, I want to get on that.
Oh, well, that's great.
Seriously.
We can always use more. But you're right, there are a lot of elderly people who haven't been out of their apartment since March.
Yeah, and then they're vulnerable. So
So
that's, imagine, oh my goodness. So
Anyway, this has been a delight just seeing you again, and I'm glad you're healthy and the kids are doing well. And
thank you.
maybe in September when we're back, we might get back to some of our normal practices with masks on, of course, and
Hand sanitizer.
and socially distanced. But at least we'll see one another,
That would
at least our eyes.
Like from afar.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Annie, for spending this time with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you, Chris.
Grace and peace from Grace Church on the Hill in Toronto.